Hey, thanks for checking out our video. I'm sure you're here because, like so many other investors, you're looking for a better investment in today's drastically changing market. Traditionally, like us here at Rust Corp, you've probably been looking at a way to make money today like wholesaling, rehabbing, or landlording. Maybe even Airbnb, small commercial, or small apartments. But what if I told you there's a way to get the same, if not better, returns than a small apartment with one single family home? Well, guess what? There is, and it's called residential assisted living, and it's one of the fastest growing niches in real estate investing. Today, we're joined by Mr. Gene Guarino of the RALAcademy to talk about what is residential assisted living and why it's such a good investment. Gene, thanks for being with us and presenting this valuable information.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me here. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Steve and Rick and Chris, for inviting me to present to the Houston Buyers Club. I love Houston, love Texas, and I'm so glad that you invited me because what I'm about to share with you, I think, is really going to be helpful to a lot of you right now. This past year was kind of crazy, and people are wondering what's going to happen next year. Well, I'm going to share with you what I believe not only is going to happen, but I know is going to happen. And we're the best place to be in real estate and business for the next 20 years. Now, I'm going to share with you exactly what it is that I do, but first, I want to give you a little overview. My name is Gene Guarino. I'm the founder of the AL Family. It's a group of companies that's all revolved around residential assisted living. We've operated, we own the real estate, we've invested in other people's projects around the country. In addition, with the RALAcademy, we train others how to do the same. Our Family Legacy Homes allows people to invest in these homes, and the AL Network is the media channel. So we're doing a lot of different things around the country, but we're also getting a lot of recognition. I've been out teaching others how to do what I do for 7 years, and now we're starting to get into magazines and articles around the country. This month was Realty 411. We're on the cover, and it's all about family legacy. I'm very fortunate that within the AL family, we have a lot of family that works with us. My daughter Isabella, my daughter Victoria, my son Emmanuel, my wife Mona, my son Antonio now, as well as my future son-in-law Ikaika, my daughter-in-law Becca, my brother Jim, my brother David, and a dozen other people from around the country, all a part of the AL family. So it's not just me here sharing with you, it's a whole group of people behind me. Now, the Residential Assisted Living Academy started about 7 years ago. I've been doing residential assisted living for about 7.5 years. As soon as I got started, people were asking me, will you teach me how? I said, absolutely yes. I'm a teacher by nature. I love to see somebody who wants to learn, who wants to grow, who wants to get something more than they have now. So I love to share, love to teach, but why is right now the best time for senior housing? You're probably wondering that, especially with everything going on in the world today. Well, I've been teaching people for 7 years that smaller is better. It's safer, it's more secure in a single family home than it is a large 200-bed complex. From a real estate perspective, one of the best ways to cash flow a property is by getting twice the market rent with a long-term low-impact tenant. And I'm going to share all of that with you here tonight. Now, I want to start with this chart. 1960, the breakdown male-female from 0 to 85 plus looked like this. Flash forward 100 years, it'll look like this. Aspire became a column, and instead of 10 million people 75 plus, we're looking at 30 million people 75 plus. That's a huge demographic change. That is a silver tsunami of seniors coming our way. So right now, with that tsunami, we are disrupting the industry. Just like Uber did with taxis and Airbnb did with hotels, we're doing it in senior housing, the AL family. And now I'm welcoming you to be a part of that. Now, the average person who's in an assisted living home or community today is part of what we call the silent generation. It's not the baby boomers, typically. The person who's in assisted living was typically born right here, mid-80s. On the chart, this shows the annual birth rate. So that's where we are. The person who's in assisted living today was born right where that blue arrow is pointing. But this right here, this is what's coming. That is a spike of population. Now notice the year, 1945, 1946, what happened? World War II ended. Servicemen came home, got busy, had a baby. They said that was fun. They did it again the next year. They said, all right, let's chill out and slow down. Before you know it, it was boom, boom, boom. This opportunity is good now, and it's getting better and better and better for the next 20 years. This is the place to be in business and real estate for the next 20 years. That's a direct quote quote from Harry S. Dent Jr., the New York Times bestseller, in his book called The Demographic Cliff. You see, the baby boomers are not in assisted living today. Their parents are, or were, but they're next. They're 10 years off. It's like seeing a stock chart 10 years in advance, knowing exactly when to get into Google, exactly when to get into Tesla, exactly when to get into any stock that you've seen, but we can see it 10 years in advance and there is no stopping it. That's a huge opportunity. So what's going to change this year? I think a better question is what's not going to change? Lots of things are going to change, but what's not going to change is seniors needing housing and care, and their families taking care of them. Now, before I get into all the money that you can make, I want to share this with you. Do good and do well. This is our company's motto. Let's break it down. Do good, do well. Do well means make a lot of money, and I'm sure all of you want to do that. But doing good, well, that's something even more, something even bigger, something more meaningful. This is where we can change the world around us, in our community, in our state, in our country, helping other people, leaving things better than they were when we got there, and leaving a legacy for your own family. Doing good and doing well. Now, my journey personally began with a phone call. It was my sister Ann, and she gave me a call, and she said, "Gene, Mom fell." My heart stopped. I didn't know what to say. I was thousands of miles away, and I said, "What do you mean she fell?" She said she fell out of bed last night, and when she was trying to get back into bed, she leaned against the footboard and she cracked 2 ribs. She's in the hospital right now. You've got to get out here. Now, I'm going to tell you, my heart stopped. That's Mom. It's not money. It's not a house. It's not some deal or business. It's Mom. And all I could do is picture her lying on that floor, and I didn't know what to do. But I knew I had to get out there. So I got on a plane, got out there, and when I walked through that front door, instead of getting that smothering mother hug from Mom, she was sitting in a chair and she gently called, "Come on over. Say hello to your mom." I gave her a little kiss on the head, and I knew everything was different. This is the beginning of something new. Now, I needed help, but my mom needed help. We all needed help. We started to look for it, and we started to make those decisions that nobody ever wants to make. Well, maybe we can hire somebody to come in and take care of Mom. Well, that's $24 an hour right now. 8 hours a day, that's $200 a day. 5 days a week, that's $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month, and we're still taking care of Mom in the evenings and on the weekend. So what if she needs more help than that? What do we do? And eventually the conclusions all lead to the same. Maybe it's time for us to consider putting Mom into a home. And as soon as you say it or think it, you feel guilty and sick to your stomach because you know you said you'd never do that. You love your mom. You know you wouldn't, but you weren't designed to do that. Now, if you can relate to what I'm saying, that's where I was at. So we looked for a place for Mom. And I'll be frank, every place we went was scary. They're not loving my mom. They're not going to take care of her the way we would. They weren't good enough. And I said, that's it. I vow to create the solution for my mom. She didn't want to move into some converted apartment building or old hotel that's now for seniors who don't get any attention. She lived in a home. She wanted to be in a home. And that's what I wanted to do. So I committed to it. I said, I'm going to do it. And I got my first home. And instead of thinking of Mom on the floor and all those different things going through my mind, I thought about how many people could I help. And when I walked through that front door, I didn't know how my life was going to change, but I knew that it did. And when I gave that little kiss to her on the forehead, I realized this is bigger than Mom. It's bigger than me. So we did our first home, we did our second home, and now we've helped people create over 1,000 homes around the country. And you can do it too. My daughter Victoria and my granddaughter Farron. This is the one and only picture of my mom and her great-grandchild together. I wanted to make sure she had a chance to meet her great-granddaughter before she left this earth. Now, my mom passed away a number of years ago, and I know some of you are saying, well, I'm sorry you lost your mom. I didn't lose her. I know exactly where she is. So if you ever want to have that conversation, you call me and we'll do it. Now, when Mom needed help, I was fortunate. 6 brothers and sisters. There's 7 of us all together. One sister said, I'll move in and take care of Mom, and she did. After a while, Mom moved in with my other sister and her family, and they took care of her. Then we had a caregiver come into the home and take care of Mom, and before you know it, she needed more care than that. Along the way, I said, I'm going to create the solution, and I worked hard to get it done, but I wasn't finished by the time Mom needed it. But now that home is available for others. This is now dedicated to my mom, Marie Guarino. My father-in-law, he passed away just about 2 months ago now that I think about it. But I remember saying, you're always welcome to move into one of our care homes if you'd like to, if you need to, no charge. And I know there's a lot of people that move into my homes and they move in and they didn't realize what it was going to cost. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month per person. They may be there for years and years. They weren't planning on it. They're not prepared for it. They start to liquidate the estate, and before you know it's gone. And then the kids who are 50 and 60 start raiding their own retirement account, or maybe their kids' college fund, or working an extra job just to pay for mom and dad's care. Because they do. They always do. So here's the deal. If nothing else, after everything that I say here tonight, whatever you're listening to this, if nothing else, do one of these homes for yourself, for your kids, for your legacy. So you're not passing on a burden to them that's going to suck away everything you've done, but you can pass on a blessing. You can move right into the master bedroom and live for free. Your parents can, your aunts, your uncles, whatever it is, you decide. But then you have 9 other people paying you $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. So instead of passing on a burden to your kids, you're passing on a cash flowing blessing. If nothing else, take that away from tonight. Now this right here, you're going to get involved in assisted living, in senior housing, one way or the other. I guarantee it. The question is how? The real estate, the business, both? Right now you have a choice. So make a good one as we go through this information. Now, if you're taking notes, and that's my teacherly way of saying, write this down, I'm going to share with you the 3 best options to participate. Then I'm going to go through the 5 keys to doing it successfully. I don't want you to just do it. I want you to do it successfully. So location, your team, clients getting paid, and systems. We're going to cover those 2, and I've added a bonus section. You know, I know some of you are saying, I just want to be involved in the real estate, nothing more, and that's fine. I'll show you how to get twice the fair market rent with the long-term low-impact tenant. And it's not the senior, you'll understand in a bit, with little or no maintenance. Now take a look at that, guys. That's kind of like the holy grail of rental properties. Yeah, we want to buy and hold and let the tenant pay our mortgage, but how about getting twice the market rent and no hassles along the way? Well, I'll share that with you as well. Now, I'm a certified financial planner in the U.S., and I'm also licensed in Australia, but my first real estate investment was the age of 18. My first commercial was the age of 25. I've had over 24 businesses over the last 40 plus years. I've been a professional musician, a record label, a recording studio. I've invested in real estate. I'm a certified financial planner. I've trained over 300,000 people worldwide to be successful. In addition, I've mentored thousands and thousands. I've written books and I've hosted radio shows. And the most recent books on senior housing were The Insider's Guide to Investing in Senior Housing. That book is available on Amazon today. Just last year, we released Blueprint, How to Start a Residential Assisted Living Business. This past year, we also released a book that we do a co-authorship with some of our students at the Academy, and it's been a phenomenal success. So I've written books, hosted radio shows, been married for 35 years to the love of my life. My wife is absolutely incredible. And I've got 4 amazing kids, all of which work for me full time. Their choice. They came to me and asked, and I love it. In addition, my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, my future son-in-law, and it's just a wonderful thing to be able to spend time with them after the first 18 summers. And I've got 2 grandkids, ages 7 and 3. So there it is. That's me on a personal level. And some of you have read this book. Most of you have heard of it before, Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. And I remember the first time I read the book, and it was literally life-changing. But you know, when you think about it, his message is all about getting out of the rat race. So the first time I met Robert, he came up to me and he said, "Hey, you're the assisted living guy. I've got some questions for you." And I said, "Whoa, Robert, moment of zen. You're asking me questions?" And he said, "Yeah, Kim, my wife, we've got a property that we're looking to turn into assisted living. We want to know what your opinion is, what you think. Is it a good location? Good business for this area?" So I consulted with him and I shared with him what I thought, and he ended up doing that project, and it was very fascinating to go through that entire process. But his message in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is get out of the rat race. Make enough money so you're financially free. So I'm going to ask you the same question that Robert asked me. He said, "Gene, what's your number?" And I said, "How do you mean?" He said, "What's your number? A dollar sign. how much money do you need on a monthly basis to pay all of your bills? He said, don't get fancy, not $1 million a month. Just what do you need to pay for the house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun? Write it down. So I wrote it down. I'm going to ask you to write it down right now. I mean it. Write it down. Hopefully you got a pad and a pen, so write down a $sign and write down how much you need on a monthly basis to pay your bills. I'll give you 3 seconds to do that. Go. Now here's the deal. Some of you wrote down a number because you know it just like that. As soon as I said it, you knew it. Some of you don't know your number. I'm going to talk to you in just a moment. But some of you said, I'm not going to write it down just because the guy on the other side of the screen said write it down. Careful. If you're not coachable, if you're not willing to learn, if you're not willing to do the little stuff, you certainly are not going to be willing to do the big stuff that really counts. So that speaks more about you than it does me or the number. But here's the deal. If you don't know your number, figure it out. Because I know people right now that are running, and they just keep working hard, grinding it out. And if they just sat back and thought about what they really want and make some changes, maybe reposition their thought and maybe some of their assets, they could be free financially. They could have what they want, but they haven't taken the time to figure it out. Now, if you wrote down a number that was $10,000 a month or less, well, good news. I'm going to show you how you can do that with just one single residential assisted living home. The next time I got together with Robert, it was at his 70th birthday party. And yep, that is my wife photobombing us in the background. So I said, Robert, how's your project going with Kim and the assisted living? He said, great, it's coming along. But he was still working on it. And when we got together again, it was at the New Orleans Investors Conference. We were both in the back room, the green room as they call it, even though they're never green. And I asked him, I said, how's your project coming? He said, great. We just got a loan from the bank for $120 million to do the project. And in my mind, I thought to myself, man, am I glad I am not competing with Robert Kiyosaki. And I'm not competing with Brookdale or Sunrise or Atria. Matter of fact, those big dogs do things differently than we do. We're a lot more nimble. And right now, they're looking at us saying they want to be like us. I'll explain what I mean in just a little bit. But I said, Robert, I'd love to have you speak at our national convention. I know how much you love assisted living. I'd love to have you out. He said, absolutely, Gene. It was so much fun to have him on stage, interview him, and let him share about what he thinks the opportunities are in the future, and specifically with residential assisted living. I had a chance to introduce him to a good friend of mine, Jonathan Goldsmith. Now, you know Jonathan is the most interesting man in the world with Dos Equis beer. But getting them together was a lot of fun, and I want you to hear this and see this. This is Robert and Harry S. Dent Jr., the New York Times bestseller, as well as Jonathan Goldsmith, the Dos Equis most interesting man, and another friend, Brad, who's a comedian, and he's phenomenal. But listen to Robert's words and wisdom as he's encouraging you about assisted living.
Yeah, so what Jane's in charge of is this organization called Residential Assisted Living. In your opinion, is that the best real estate play to be in?
It is, because I always tell people, because the baby boom was so large, everything they do as they age is the best sector. People say millennials, there's more millennials. Bull. They're not as big a wave. They're a fraction of the wave. So what assisted living and nursing homes do, they play the last stage of the baby boomers, the largest generation in history, and nobody sees it coming. Nobody.
No, we do.
You do. Nobody sees. I bring this up and people say, Harry, what are you smoking? There's the baby boomers already retired. They're already in assisted living. No, they're just starting.
Yeah.
In 2018.
Oh, yeah.
They got 26, 28 years of nonstop growth.
Yeah.
Nothing will grow faster and nobody will see it coming.
You know, it's so fun to sit with people that are older than I am who are sharing their wisdom on what they see. Harry's in his 60s, Jonathan is in his 80s, and Robert's in his 70s, and they're all seeing the same thing. So why? Why residential assisted living? Why you, and why now? That's really the questions I want you to ask and answer, because if you have a strong enough why, you'll do what it takes. You'll do whatever it takes. I think you can do anything you want in life. I'm one of those people. I'm a glass half full. You can do it if you want to do it. The problem is most people never think long enough to figure out what they really want to do, and more importantly, why. Because if that why is strong, you will break through walls, you will lift cars off infants, you'll do whatever it takes. What's your why? Now, I asked you a question before, what's your number? And a lot of you, if you wrote down a number, you said, boy, if I had $10,000 a month flowing into my bank account, I'm set. That pays for the house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun. It's all good. Now, some of you need more, that's fine. But I'm going to show you how to get that and more from just one single family home doing this residential assisted living. But what are your options? I mean, you're there in the Houston area. Most of you are right there, and some of you are outside of Houston. But when you think about it, you could buy a house and fix it and flip it, maybe wholesale it. Or if you fix and flip it, you do some work and effort, make $20, $30, $50, maybe $100,000. The problem is it's one time. You buy it, you flip it, you're out of business. You got to go find another one. And you know as well as I, it's getting harder and harder and harder to find a good property worth buying that you can fix and flip and make a profit. So then most people after the quick cash say, well, I'm going to do some rental properties, buy and hold. This way I've got some steady income and we make $100 a month, $200 a month after all expenses. And we hope the tenant doesn't run off with the kitchen in the middle of the night to kind of blow the whole year of profit. But the reality is a couple $100 a month won't pay for a round of golf and dinner at the 19th hole. So what else could we do? We could do a group home. We could rent it out by the bedroom. That's multiplication through division and increase our income dramatically there. That's good. Or we could do short-term rentals, let's say Airbnb for even higher, but who knew that they would even shut down those around the country? So yeah, you can make a lot of money doing that, but the one that I'm here to talk about, owning and operating a residential assisted living home, making $10,000 a month or more from that same single family home. Wayne Gretzky, the great one, was asked the question, how are you so good? You're not that big, you're not that fast, you're not that strong. How are you so good? He said, well, I skate to where the puck is going, not to where it's been. It's the same in real estate, it's the same in business, it's the same in life. If you're trying to figure out what to do, don't look backwards what worked 10 years ago, foreclosures, REO, short sale, what worked 8 years ago, McMansions and all kinds of things. It's what's going to work 10 years from now. What's working today and into the future. And when you look at it clearly, it's like a silver tsunami of seniors coming your way. You cannot stop it. I'm laying this out and I want you to see it this way. This is an opportunity or it's a crisis. Just depends on how you look at life. And I look at it as an opportunity because there's a lot of seniors who are not prepared. They will not have the money to live in a home of their choice. They're going to rely on the state or the government to give them something, to provide for their care. I don't focus on Medicare and Medicaid. I cannot make money with that. That would be more of a charity or a non-profit in the truest sense of the word, meaning no profit. I look at it as an opportunity. Private pay, focusing on long-term care insurance, private pay, individuals, that's where the money is at. We can help people. But the cost have risen from 2004 to 2020 by 79%. And the average, I told you already, if you have a home health aide, somebody come into the home, it's $24 an hour to take care of mom or dad in your own home. If you bring them to an assisted living facility, the national average today is $4,300 per month per person. That includes Medicare and Medicaid and everything in between. That's a 6% growth rate this past year, 3.6% year after year after year after year. It is the best place to be when it comes to cash flow. But Gene, what is residential assisted living? I don't even get what you're talking about yet. Well, let me explain it to you this way. One sentence. It's a group residence for seniors that provides assistance with the residents' activities of daily living. So what's an ADL? It's everything you did after you hit the snooze alarm today. Dressing, bathing, eating, medication management, housekeeping. Nobody moves into assisted living unless they need assistance. And if they do, they move in and they get the help that they need. Not medical, that's a nursing home, doctors and nurses and gurneys. But when I say assisted living or senior housing, this is what most people picture. An old hospital converted into, that's your typical nursing home. Put some barbed wire around the roof and it's a prison. It's not this. It's not this. The show from the 80s, four mature women living together, taking care of each other. It's right in between those two. It is using that same single-family home in a residential setting. using a home, and the caregivers come, they provide care 24/7, typically shift work, and then they go home and another shift comes in and those seniors are cared for 24/7. It's not doctors, it's not nurses, it's just they can't be home alone, but they don't need to be in a medical facility. Inside the home, it looks just like your home, but it might be a little bit bigger, a little bit more open, a little bit more spacious. That's me inside one of our upscale homes, and you can see lots of space, open movement, senior friendly. We furnish the home. The seniors don't bring the furnishings, we do. So dining and family room and bedrooms and kitchen, the home is furnished and the seniors move in. Now you'll notice from this picture it's a group of seniors and there's more women than men. Why is that? Because women statistically will live longer than men. So if there's a husband and wife and he goes and she stays, she might be for another year or 3 or 5 or 10, and she may need some assistance along the way. So in assisted living homes and communities, there's more women than men. Very common. But it's a home, not a hospital. That's why I put this picture in. They can have a party. It's okay. They're in bed by 7:15, so it's okay. Now, you'll notice they've got a beverage. It's non-alcoholic. If they have a note from their doctor, they certainly can. But it's a home. You and I, the kids, we come to visit for an afternoon or a day, but they stay and the caregivers take care of them. Now, I'm about to get into how much money you can make, and I want to remind you of our motto, do good and do well. So yes, you can make a lot of money, but the doing good part. This is part of it. Thank you notes from residents' families saying, thank you for taking care of mom. Thank you for taking care of dad. And here's a check for $5,000 this month. That's pretty cool. I never got that with Section 8 rentals or apartments or single-family homes. It's usually grumbling and complaining or late and so on. No, these people really need us. They are happy to pay that money to take care of their mom and their dad. So it's a wonderful feeling, that do good, but what do you really want? I think part of what you really want is to be at the right place at the right time. Sometimes it's easier than we make it out to be. Like the baby boomers. They're coming. They're here. They're not going away. Timing is key to anything to do in life. Next thing you really want? Less competition. You know, when you all used to meet face-to-face in the meetings regularly, month after month, lots of people in that room, if I were to ask the question, what are you all doing? Raise your hand when I put something on the screen you're doing. By the time the list was done, everybody's hand would be raised. Wholesaling, fix and flip, rental homes, apartments, vacation rentals, storage units, mobile homes, raw land and lots. Everybody's hand would be raised, and I would say, look around. That's your competition. Then I'd ask a simple question. Who in this room is doing assisted living in a residential setting? My hand would be the only one raised. How much competition do I have? And I don't even live in your backyard. There is so much opportunity, and you don't need a crystal ball to figure this out, because 77 million baby boomers means an average of 10,000 people a day are turning 65 right now. 4,000 a day are turning 85 right now. That's 120,000 people this month turning 85, 1.4 million people this year turning 85. Now, they're all not going to need assisted living, but hundreds of thousands of them will. And there's no room in the inn. The good homes are full with a waiting list, and the bad homes are full with a waiting list. That's an opportunity. 90% of all seniors would rather stay in their own home, but 70% will need help with their activities of daily living for an average of 3.5 years. What my crystal ball says is they're going to need a home and they're going to need assistance. Harry S. Dent Jr., the New York Times bestseller, The Demographic Cliff, the opportunity of our lifetimes. Now that's a big statement. In real estate development and investing is likely to be nursing homes and assisted living facilities. There it is. It's not just me. There's lots of people, Robert Kiyosaki, myself, and others, but you may be asking, well, Gene, I'm not a doctor or a nurse. Can I do this? The answer is yes. Gene, I have a home now, a rental home, or a house I just picked up. Can I do it in this home? The answer is maybe. And then, how much can I make? Well, I'm going to get to that. That's coming up now. 3 best options to participate. Here they are for those who take notes. Remember, there's 2 different ways you can make money. One is the real estate. The second is the business. So the first one is the real estate. Own the real estate and lease it to an operator. The secret to being successful here is find the operator first. Don't find a house. Don't go get someplace and build it and fix it and hope to find somebody. You find that operator first that you're going to lease it to, and you ask them, where should I buy the house? Now you go do your thing and get the right house. We'll teach you that. Number 2. And by the way, when I said we'll teach you that, that's called becoming a preferred real estate provider, where you can get twice the market rent, long-term low-impact tenants with little or no maintenance. And again, we'll teach you that during our 3-day training, but I'm going to share some of that with you here today. Number 2, own the real estate and operate the business. That's the best of both worlds. We get all the benefits of the real estate and the appreciation and the tax deductions and all of the profit from a business as well. And the third, be a private lender or a joint venture partner. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one today, but there's people, some of you, who are saying, I just want to write a check and invest and get a check back once a month or once a quarter. I don't want to know anything about the business. I just want my money to work for me. We can help you with that. Some of you are saying, well, hey, I'm willing to buy the house or put up the money, but I want to share those juicy profits. That's a joint venture partner. We can help you with that. I'm going to spend the bulk of our time on number 2, owning the real estate and operating the business. How much does assisted living cost? That's the next question people always have, and I'm going to give you the facts and the figures based on Genworth. Genworth is a private long-term care insurance company. Genworth.com/cost of care is where these facts and figures are coming from for your future reference. Now, the first question is, well, how much does it cost? In the U.S., the average right now is $4,300 per person per month. So let's break it down. The U.S., got it. Let's pick a state. Let's go Texas. So Texas, the average is $3,998. So you're about $300 below the national average. But you got a big state. So let's break it down inside the state. Your top 5 markets, Houston at $4,750, well above the U.S. average. McAllen at $5,075 per month per person. Midland, $5,250. College Station, $5,355. And currently the most expensive market for residential assisted living, Victoria. You know, Austin was in the list until just this year, and it kind of fell off. It's below Houston. But Victoria. Well, how about on the low end, Gene? Which places should I maybe avoid if I have a choice? Well, let's start with Lubbock, which I misspelled right there, so we'll call it Tulubbock at $3,420. And Kylene at $3,387, and Corpus Christi at $3,150, and El Paso at $2,950, and the least expensive market in Texas, Texarkana at $2,600. So if you love Mom, you move her to Victoria, and if you didn't get along, Texarkana, here we come. No, I'm kidding. There's places in Texarkana that cost twice that, and some that cost half that. But those are the averages, and you can find that at genworth.com, and I put that up there for your benefit so you can get an idea. But could just one of these homes be enough for me? Let's take a look. Let's just say you had an average home, average America, $4,300 per person per month. And let's say it was an average size and it's licensed for 10. By the way, got some good news for you in Houston and Texas. You can have up to 16 people in Texas in a single family home doing residential assisted living. 16 or less is considered a small assisted living home. Now, there are some limitations based on the city and so on, but we know how to work with HOAs and Federal Fair Housing Act in cities and states. I'm just telling you, in Texas, up to 16. I'm using 10 for this example because some states it's unlimited. Some states it's limited to 6 or 8. You're 16 in Texas. So let's just say times 10, easy math, potential gross income of $43,000 a month. Well, what are my expenses every month, Gene? Well, first of all, the categories look just like your home budget. Cable, internet, phone, newspaper, magazine, food and supplies, activities. In the middle, we start bringing up the caregivers and facility manager. That's the most expensive part, the humans taking care of the humans. So the caregivers, the managers, I don't want it to be you. I don't want you working a job. We're going to pay other people to do that. So I'm going to give you 2 numbers, and I'll break it down for you in detail in our 3-day training, but $28,000 and $18,000. Well, Gene, which one? Well, obviously you do like the first one, that $28,000 is high, that $18,000 is the one that everybody prefers, but the difference between that is doing it yourself and having somebody else do it for you. So that $28,000 is where we're paying other people to be the manager, the caregiver, etc. That's what I want to focus on. I don't want you getting a job. That's not what this is about. So I'm going to use the $28,000 for the expenses and a vacancy calculation in there as well. And now one more piece, the debt service or the rent. Now in America today, the average home is about $300,000. In Houston, it's about $246,000, I think, currently. But the average rent for that house to buy it or own it might be $2,500 PITI. So let's double that and make it $5,000 for the debt service or the rent. That's twice the household average to buy that home or rent that average home in America today. That still leaves you with $10,000 a month or $120,000 a year. That's one average home. And that's a good example because that's average everyday America. But I want you to think a little bit differently. Think nicer. When I say think nicer, let's go from 43 to 5,500. It's literally the same home times 10, potential gross income of 55,000 now. Expenses are the same. The caregivers get paid the same, whether it's a big home or a small home, whether you're in a great area or a not so great area. And the house itself, the debt service, well, let's increase it a little bit. Nicer home, nicer area. Let's make that $7,000. That's a lot of rent, Gene. You don't have to pay that. I'm just saying, even if you did pay twice the fair market rent, now you're netting $20,000 or $240 a year from a single family home. Let's step it up one more time. Let's think bigger and luxury. Really nice. You know, my homes are 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square feet or more. If I were in Texas, I would have 16 residents all day long. My homes are very nice, and your homes can be too. Let's say you're getting 7,000 per person, and you've got 16 beds there in Texas. Gene, there's no 16-bedroom homes available. No, you're going to convert some space. You want a 5,000 or 6,000 square foot home for this many people, and that's perfectly fine. By the way, the state would allow you to do it in a home half that size, but I don't want you to do it that way. I want you to think nice. Think your own mom, your own dad, so you'd be proud to have them move in and live there. So now we're talking potential gross income of $112,000. That's huge. Now let's take our $28,000 and let's increase it dramatically. Well, Gene, why? Let's say you hire an extra caregiver. Maybe we have a chef on staff with a white jacket and a white hat doing cook-to-order breakfast and cook-to-order lunch and preparing a gourmet meal in between that the caregiver served for dinner that night. Everything first class, nice, luxury, everything there. And let's do it in a mansion. Let's do it in a beautiful home. And maybe the debt service is $15,000, which is more than you'll ever pay, but you get the point. You're still netting $45,000. That's $540 a year. Your home could be half full and you're still making profit. I'm just sharing this with you because I want you to be thinking bigger and more luxury, but it all starts with a single family home. So the 5 keys to being successful doing this. The first one is location, location, location. This is most important. 5 levels. Level 5, the high end. Think the nicest homes in the nicest area. This is where the sports stars live, the entertainers live, all of the biggest names live. And then level 1, think the bad end of town, the other side of the tracks, the place you wouldn't slow down the car, let alone drop mom off to live. And the sweet spot is level 3 and 4. Above the middle, but not at the top of the top, the cream of the crop, just on the nicer end. Dollar-wise, where does that fit in? Well, dollar-wise, that's in that $4,000 to $8,000 per month range. That's the sweet spot for private pay and residential assisted living. Now, I've given you the facts and the figures, but what does it look like in a picture? This is a picture of what I'm going to call level 2 home. It's in a blue-collar neighborhood. Nothing wrong with the home. Great rental home. If you were to rent it out, might rent for $1,800 or $2,000 a month. But this home was valued at $180,000 when this transaction happened. The business inside the home, the residential assisted living business, was valued at $180,000. Combined, $330,000. Pause. Gene, the business is separate from the real estate? Yes. We're teaching you how to create a business that you can sell separately for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've done it, and you can do it too. I have students right now who have had bank appraisals on their business alone for well over $1 million. So this home, the real estate was valued at $180,000. The business was valued at $150,000 based on the cash flow. Location, Notice the highways, 101 north and south, 202 east and west. The blue circle shows where the house is. So what I want you to get from this picture is it's conveniently located. It's not an hour outside of town. It's not on a river. It's not on a mountaintop. It's easy to get to, conveniently located. But the rents are down here, that level 1, level 2 range. Not what I'm looking for. Let me show you another example. This is a level 4 or 5 home. Now, this is one of my homes that I put together and started the business and created it. I had people come into the open house saying, this is the nicest care home I have ever seen in the entire state of Arizona. And I said, well, I appreciate that, but I know there's got to be a nicer one out there. And now I know there is. They're my own students. I have dozens of students in my area that have opened homes that are much nicer than this home right here. I call those homes level 6. They're off the chart, and I love it. I love it because they're helping so many people, giving quality homes to them, and they're making tremendous money doing it. Location. Notice the green circle mid-left, but on the right-hand side, you have that 101 highway. You have an airport in the top, Scottsdale Airport. So not the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, but the Scottsdale Airport is G5s and private jets and big money all around. Top left, Kierland Golf Club, one of the nicest country clubs in the entire country. But as you take a look, you'll notice that green circle is surrounded by many, many houses and thousands of people. That here is what I'm looking for. Right there in that level 4, 5, that range right here. Business and real estate. So the real estate side itself, there's 5 keys to being successful, but location is number 1. We can scrape away the house and rebuild it. We can improve the house, add to it, but we cannot relocate it. So location, location, location based on the demographics. The second one is your team. If I were to ask you, how many of you want employees? Nobody would raise their hand. Then if I would ask, how many of you want to do everything on your own? Nobody would raise their hand. So then I'd ask again, how many of you want employees now? And half of you would raise your hand. Because some of you are thinking, I'll make them independent contractors. Well, the moment you say, here's the schedule, you have to show up on this day at this time, that's an employee. You see, I've been doing this for 7 years. I know exactly what to do to be successful and to be safe. And we will teach you exactly that. The business elements of this, the money that can be made is incredible. But I want you to get this picture in your mind. Think a 3-legged stool. Take one leg and shorten it, lengthen it, break it off, the stool falls down. So if I were to ask which leg is the most important leg of a 3-legged stool, the answer is all of them. Business, staff, and residents. So you have to be more than just I'm all about the people, and you have to be more than I'm just about the money. The staff is right in between. It's people and money. But together, that 3-legged stool will help you balance any business. So when I say your team, the first one is the administrator. I don't want you there at the house, that home, every day, every week, every month. I would rarely go see the homes themselves. But the administrator, the manager, is there daily. Now, this is a picture of one of our managers. Her name is Mariella. When she came to us, she was a caregiver for over 10 years working for others. She came to work for us as a caregiver. She was promoted to assistant manager and a few years later to manager. After she was managing my homes, I asked her, Mariella, what do you really want to do? And she said, Gene, I would really love to own my own home. And my response was simple. I would hate to lose you, but how can I help you? She smiled and I said, I'm here for you. If you need help, let me help. I helped her finance her first home, her second home. Now she owns 3 homes and she no longer works with me. I'm proud of that, guys, because we can help a lot of people. The caregivers can become managers. The managers can become owners. Maybe they become your future partners on your second or third home where their ownership is going to take care of, instead of getting paid, they're providing ownership. All the people on my team who work with me call it our home, my home, not Gene's home or somebody else's home. I like that attitude. So the administrator is your most important. Second, the caregivers. The caregivers are face-to-face with the residents and also the residents' family. They're incredibly important to you, and they come from all over the world. You'll see in the picture, younger, older, some with experience, some new. Some of them are from the U.S., but most of them are from the Philippines and Romania, North Africa, and they love what they do. People used to ask me, Gene, how do you find great caregivers when unemployment is 3.5%? Well, It's not about finding caregivers, it's about finding people that love seniors. See, these people, they're not going to be a barista. They're not going to work retail. They're not going to work in a hotel as a maid. They love seniors, and that's what they do. They're not mercenaries. They're trained professionals who do what they do. I've had caregivers with me for years. Some people right now, and they're saying, well, Gene, I can't find anybody good. I got a clue for you. It's not the employee, it's you. You got to be an employer of choice, somebody they want to work with, somebody they want to be a part of the team with. And if you are, well, they'll be attracted to you. People will be applying for jobs even when others can't find them or keep them. We'll teach you all of those secrets, but the next one is the clients. Well, really, the question is, who is the client? Is it the senior who lives in the home? Not really. They didn't choose the home. They'd rather be in their own home. They didn't choose the home, and they certainly don't write the check each month. It's their kids. They're adult kids who are 50 and 60 who have kids and maybe grandkids, and they're the ones in that sandwich generation who are now paying to take care of their parents. They're the ones who are choosing the home. They're the ones who are writing the check. Those are really your clients. So 5 keys to being successful, and now we're on to the 4th, getting paid. Well, where does the money come from? Well, I've said it before, we do not focus on Medicare and Medicaid. They pay about $2,000 a month, and that includes somebody's Social Security and pension plans and everything else. And if the average bet is $4,300 a month, and the most they're going to pay is $2,000 collectively, I, as a business owner, can't make that work. So I don't focus on Medicare or Medicaid. Well, Gene, how about the VA? The VA is wonderful, and if you're a vet, thank you. You should apply to the VA directly to get whatever benefit you can, but they're going to give you the money, then the vet will pay the home that money. So I can't apply to the VA to get that money. A vet has to do that. 3rd, long-term care insurance. Now, right now, if I were in a room and I'd ask, raise your hand if you have a long-term care insurance policy, less than 10% would raise their hand. The other 90%, I'd say, what's your plan? And you'd nervously giggle and say, oh, I don't know, let the kids figure it out. You're right. That is what happens to most people. But I have a clue for you. If you have a long-term care insurance policy, keep it. Get your own residential assisted living home, move into the master bedroom, and go ahead and bill that insurance company to live in your own home. Double dip. For those of you who don't have a long-term care insurance policy, you don't need to get one. Get a home and move into the master bedroom and live for free. 4th, this is what most people do. Whatever mom or dad or grandma or grandpa have for assets, cash in a bank account, retirement accounts, investment properties, stocks, bonds, whatever they've got, their own home, all of it eventually gets liquidated to pay for their care at $5,000 a month, year after year. And when it's all gone and it's all done, let the kids figure it out. And that's what happens. That's when those kids who are 50 and 60 start borrowing from their retirement plan, from their kids' college education fund. All of it could have been avoided by just having one of these homes. 5 keys to success. The final one is systems. And when I say systems, think of a franchise. It's a system. Here's the manual. You do this, this, and this. You need systems for the real estate. How to locate the right real estate. How to acquire it. There's 7 different ways to fund this that we teach. How to renovate, what to do, what not to do. What must you do versus what do you want to do. Then the team. Who are they? Where do I find them? How do I find them, train them, and retain them? These are all the things that we teach in our 3-day training. In addition to that, operations. I didn't focus a lot on the operations because I don't want you doing the operations. That's what your manager does and your caregivers do. Policies and procedures, we need them, they follow them. Emergency plans, menus, schedules, all of that, we show you all of that. Funding, there's 7 different ways to do this with and without your own money. There is so much money sitting in the bank accounts today of people all around the world, and they're just scared out of their mind. They see the stock market knowing it could crash, knowing that who knows what's going to happen in the administration, and they're looking for good, safe, solid investments. And if you package yourself properly, the funding can be yours. But funding and then partners. You see, you might be the money or the real estate and somebody else is the operational partner. Putting those two together, well, that's part of what we can do as well. And when you do it once, you can do it again and again and again. You're the owner. I want you to be the business manager as well, 5, 10 hours a week, maybe. Then everything else, the operations manager, everything else that's day-to-day, boots on the ground, is somebody else underneath you. If you can picture yourself doing 5 to 10 hours a week in work, you can have more than one home. 3-pack. It's the concept of having 3 homes within 30 minutes of each other. Now, why 3 homes? It could be 2, it could be 5, it doesn't matter. You get the point. A cluster of homes. Well, Gene, how does that help me? A manager can oversee more than one home. A caregiver can be shared amongst the homes. The economies of scale with buying products and services, all of it comes together in a 3-pack. So we'll teach you that and all the nuances of it. But some of you right now are asking the question, Gene, what if I just want to be the property owner and lease it to somebody who's going to operate? How do I do that? Well, like I said, you become a preferred provider. We have people who are saying, I just want to own the real estate and lease it to somebody else. That's fine, but you better find out what it is that they need to know and to be as an operator. If somebody comes out of our class, I know they're trained. I know they have the support. If somebody's coming out of left field just saying, hey, I read a book or an article and I'm going to open up a home, will you lend me money? I'd stay away from that. So how do I become a preferred real estate provider? So I can get twice the market rent with a long-term low-impact tenant and little or no maintenance. Well, I'm going to give you a formula for that right now. And if you'd like to write this down, I call it the OLO formula. OLO. That stands for opportunity, location, and operator. Let me break that down so you see exactly what I'm saying. First, the opportunity. No matter what you're looking to invest in, is there a need for it? You know, if somebody says, I've got the best typewriter in the world, nobody needs it anymore. I've got the best landline telephone. Nobody needs it anymore. Is what you're doing, what you're talking about, what you're about to invest in needed? Well, certainly there's a need for assisted living. I've shown that to you in chart after chart. The second, what's the current demand? I mean, how many people need it right now? Well, I can show you how to find all that, but you know in your own community how many people there are. I can tell you right now, 16.9% of the U.S. population of 328 million people are 65 and above. 6.4% of that population, that group, is going to need care or assisted living. That's about 3.5 million people in the U.S. There's about 1 million beds. So is there a current demand? Oh yeah. Do the fundamentals work? Can I bring in enough money so after expenses I make a profit? Well, I've gone through the numbers going average, thinking bigger, and then thinking bigger and nicer, and the fundamentals certainly do work. So now that we've talked the first one, opportunity, let's talk location. And it's all about the demographics. It's not oceanfront, riverside, mountaintop. It's the people that live there and how much money they make and what age they are. And then the current competition. How many homes are in your area? How many communities are in your area? And then the future opportunity. Based on the population, the number of people moving in and moving out, the age of those people, how many people are going to need this help in the future? All of that can be calculated into a nice, easy package. You know, I've already shared part of this with you. There's 5 levels. Level 5 is on the top. Level 1 is on the bottom. Your sweet spot is level 3, 4. That's the key. There's a lot of people on level 1 and 2 that will need this help. I don't want to provide that solution. I'm looking to do it in a way where I'm proud to have them live in the home. I can't help everyone, but I'm going to help those people that can pay the bigger dollars. I think you're catching that and you're understanding it. So the third piece, and again, what we're talking about is a formula, OLO, for if you're going to invest money or partner with somebody, the operator is the key. Past experience is best. If they've done it once, they can do it twice. But somebody who has got past experience, that may be a caregiver, becomes a manager, becomes an owner. In addition to that, those people who have been trained and are supported. We do 8 classes a year and people come from all over the country and those classes are full and sold out every single time. We even have people coming in internationally learning how to do this and taking it back to their own country. But training and support, we train people, we support people, they know what they're supposed to do, and those are great people to work with. So like I said, we do classes, we've been doing them for 7 years, love to have you come to one sometime. When we were able to get into people's homes, we would do tours and walk right through those homes and see them. Today, we're doing virtual tours, and it's a wonderful experience because now I can take you through students' homes all across the country, and we can see 7 homes in an afternoon instead of just 3. But the operator, the third part, is an alignment of values. You see, you might have a big heart, and they may be all about the business, not care about people, not a good fit. Or you care about people and they don't care about the business. They care about people too. Well, somebody's got to take care of business. Somebody's got to love those people. But alignment of values is going to be important. So that formula, when you bring it all together, OLO, opportunity, location, and operator, that's what makes a successful investment in residential assisted living. This gentleman here on my left, he's in Texas. He owns 4 homes, and he now has communities in Texas as well as Louisiana that he's developing. He was a great student. He worked with us for a while, and now I'm an investor in his projects. Pretty cool. Carla Lee came to our class in her 20s. Within 5 months of going home after the class, she owned her first home. Within 3 years, she had 9 residential assisted living homes in New Mexico and Arizona. They packaged them up and sold them off to a bigger buyer. You see, even if you're young and don't have any experience, you can do this. Or if you're saying, well, I've been doing things for a while and I'm looking to do something for myself this time, like Donald in Tolinda. He's a luxury home builder in Kansas. And he said, I'm going to build one of these homes and make it into assisted living. And he did. 14 beds, an average of $7,000 per resident. And it's a legacy to his dad. Mitch and Jen in Colorado, they have 7 homes, 14 to 16 bed. Patty's just got 1 with 6 beds in California. Wendy, her family has 4 and they're in Florida. The Gillums right here, they're in Texas. They've got a home. We've got Anita and her friends. We've got Shams and Nisha in Canada doing investments in the U.S. Sean, he's got 2 homes and he's got 2 more under development right now. Brad and Angie, he's a builder. She's a nurse. And this is the first business they're doing together. As a builder, he said, I can put up a wonderful building, and he did. And as a nurse, she knows how to operate the business itself. He did the building, and by the way, this is the one where I went there to their home. The building is gorgeous. It's actually a little bigger than I'd like. It feels a little bigger than a home, but you get it. The business itself was appraised by the bank for $1.3 million. Not the building. That was separate. That's worth millions alone. The business that he created out of nothing, 1.3. He was so successful with the first one that he built his second one on the same lot right behind it. They built it, they filled it, the bank appraised it. They said this business, because he did a little smaller building, charged a little bit more, is valued at $1.8 million by the bank. 1.3, 1.8. Guys, that's over $3 million in appraised value from the bank, on top of the profit in the real estate equity. That's huge. Did all of that in 3 years' time, and he's not stopping. He could, but Rocky and Sherry, they've got 3 homes. Their goal is to have 100 homes at level 5 and above, and to package them together and sell them off to hedge funds for hundreds of millions of dollars. They will. I know they will. So here's the deal. I've gone through the 3 best ways to participate, the 5 keys to success. We talked a little bit about the OLO formula. You know that you can make a lot of money, even in an average home or a nicer home or a bigger and nicer home. And right now you're just wondering, wow, can I really do this? Yes, you can. And you can do good and do very, very well. During this presentation, I just touched the tip of the iceberg. I mean, truly I did. There's so much more to know. So what's your next step? The question you need to ask yourself is, does this check my boxes? Think about this. Certainty that you're in the right place at the right time. Significance, doing something meaningful and impactful, making a contribution in life. Unlimited income and growth potential. If what you're doing right now is limiting you, stunning you, holding you back, you can change it. Does it check your box where it doesn't require you to work 40 hours a week? That's okay if you want to, but if you don't want to, that's even better. Provides financial security even in a downturn. Last year was a downturn for a lot of people. You know that. Some of you were that. But some of you are saying, I see something coming in the future. Well, protecting you in a downturn. and connection to a family of like-minded people. We all want to belong. You are loved. You are good enough. You just need to hang around with people who have done it before and willing to show you how, who can bring you along so that you can do it too. Now look at that list. And I was doing one of our 3-day trainings, and there was a couple in the front, Mike and Nancy from California, and he sat back and crossed his arms and stroked his beard, and he said, "Gene, this just checks all our boxes." And I said, "How do you mean?" And he shared everything you see there on the screen. And I said, "Wow, I'm going to use that." So my question for you is, does RAL check your boxes and allow you to build and pass on a legacy?
Gene, thank you so much for sharing all this amazing information. You're definitely right. RAL also checks all our boxes here at Russ Corp too, both from a personal standpoint as well as a business standpoint. To be able to create a positive impact on others' lives while being able to provide financial security for ourselves and our families. Hence your saying, do good and do well. Russ Corp is starting 2022 with a new residential assisted living project, and we're partnering with investors just like you. If residential assisted living checked your boxes like it does for us and so many others, give us a call to see how you can get involved in this great opportunity. But act quickly, because spots are filling up fast and won't last long. So give us a call today.